So it is a closed loop system here. A closed loop control system is one which output you see this control system, the output is fed with the error detector or input or at summing point. The output is always, you see here output, the output is here, the output is here, you see that is fed with the input through a error detector. Means a closed loop control system is one in which the output is fed back into an error detector or summing point. This is the summing point. You see here the output signal is fed back or connecting to the error detector or summing point. Means output is compared with input always. So this is type control system is called a closed loop control system. So here at every moment the output is compared with the input, reference input. This RS is called a reference input. It is a reference input. So this is desired output. Output is the desired output. Desired output means आम जो दरकार desire which चाहूचे जो output आम चाहूचे. Reference माने जो हम setting करते हैं. You see, so reference input. This is the desired output is here. Okay. So this feedback you see the feedback signal, the output is connecting to input or error detector. This feedback, this is called feedback signal. This signal is a feedback signal, and the feedback signal is sometimes positive, sometimes negative. Feedback may be positive, feedback may be negative. You see, if positive here, if BS is a feedback signal in this picture, BS is a feedback signal. So it is a minus plus written. If sometimes negative, sometimes positive here. Okay. So but I consider here negative feedback signal. So for analysis of this closed loop system, determine the equations. आम equations of बाहर कला बड़े मु गोटिए नेबे negative. तो मैं negative signal नहीं पारो feedback. मीन्स बीएस माइनस नहीं पार कि बीएस प्लस नहीं पार मु बीएस को बर्तमान माइनस नेबी नेगेटिव फीडबैक सिग्नल मु नेकी एनालिसिस करी आई फाइंड द डिफरेंट इक्वेशंस फ्रॉम दिस क्लोज लूप सिस्टम यू सी हियर so in this picture you tell me this RS is called the reference input which is the Laplace of RT or the RS is the reference input which is the Laplace of RT. RS is the reference input with Laplace of RT signal, input signal. Laplace of RT how much? Time domain signal. Laplace of RT is RS. Similarly, what is the CS? This is the output signal. Laplace of CT. Output signal, Laplace of CT. Time domain thile, taku Laplace di karibo. Laplace of CT is equal to CS. So what is GS? GS is the forward path transfer function GS because I told you each block must contains a transfer function. So GS is called forward path transfer function. HS is called feedback path transfer function HS because this block is contains the feedback path contains a block that contains HS. HS is called feedback path transfer function. So ES is given error signal. ES is the error signal Laplace of ET. ES is equal to nothing but Laplace of ET. Error signal ET. Its Laplace is equal to how much? ES. It is error signal. Time domain ET, frequency domain ES. Small ET, Laplace ES is you. BS is the feedback signal. BS is the Laplace of BT. Small BT. If I write small BT feedback signal, the Laplace kete je pila mane tar hochi BS. BS is feedback signal. RS is the input signal. CS is the output signal. GS is the forward path transfer function. HS is the feedback path transfer function. ES is the error signal. In this, these are the terms relating to a closed loop system here. You see, so I am writing these points here. In this closed loop system, we consider negative feedback. I have told you, what is the plus minus feedback? I am going to negative feedback. Negative feedback is RS Laplace transform of input signal RT. CS Laplace transformation of control output signal CT. ES Laplace of error signal ET. ET Laplace ES. BS Laplace of feedback signal. जोटा कि हम पूर्व फिगर सब हम मेंशन करा है टर्म. Similarly, GS forward path of transfer function forward path transfer function GS. HS feedback path transfer function. You see here. So see, I have to find some equations here. You see some terms to determine here. So in this, you got the figure here. So I draw the figure here again for your reference. So what is the figure? The figure is like that here. So what is the figure here? This figure is the summing point here. This is the GS. This is the CS. This value is the HS. Error detector. This is minus. this is the RS, which is plus, this is the, so output of a summing point is ES, and this is the BS, you see. So what is the output of this closed loop system, or the output, this GS, or the output of this C of S, okay, you see here. So in this block diagram, so input is the R of S. R of S is the input, R of S. Okay. So you see some equations are relating this closed loop system. So what is the CS signal? The block GS, what is the output of the block GS? CS. So CS is equal to input to block GS block रे input केते पिला ES, input GS block रे input ला ES signal, ता block value केते GS. So ES into GS is equal to CS. So I'm writing the first equation. You see CS output signal, CS is equal to, for the GS block, forward path block. So what is the CS? CS is equal to its input signal ES into block value GS. मैं तुमको बारंबार कहूँची, तो मैंने मन रखी था, for a block the input signal into block transfer function value is equal to output signal. तेणु बर्तमान जो GS block और input signal कहते हैं ES, the transfer function GS, ES into GS is equal to CS. First equation. C, feedback signal. Similarly, for the bottom block, feedback path block जो लगी थी, से block रे input कहते हैं पिला माने CS. क्या take up point लगी थी, take up point CS माने this signal also CS. तो feedback path रे जो block अच्छी input कहते हैं CS. CS into block value कहते हैं HS. CS into HS is equal to how much? CS into HS is equal to how much? BS. Okay. This is the equation. First equation is from the first block forward path transfer function. Second equation from the feedback path transfer function block. See, for the error signal ES from summing point ES, क्या ना summing point कहाँ के लगे? Summing point use करा जाए, दूसरा signal को difference करे पाएं. So RS signal minus, you see summing point रे कोटा होचे RS signal पोस्टी, out signal पोस्टी minus BS plus RS minus BS. तने कहते ला RS minus BS summing point. From summing point you see RS minus BS is equal to how much? Summing point रो कहते बाहर output signal is ES. So you are getting three equations. Equation 1 from the forward path block, equation 2 from the feedback path block, and equation 3 from the summing point. तीनटा equation बर्तमान बाहर कर ली. मैं कौन कहिए जो CS value from equation 1, CS value put in the equation 2, CS1 value in the equation 2. Equation 2 रे कौन थला? Equation 2. तो CS value I put in the equation 2. Equation 2 रे कौन करा? Equation 2 होचे BS is equal to CSHS. मैं इट कौन करबी? CS value put करबी. जो ये CS value थला, और the CS value from equation 1 you see ES GS. So put CS value in equation 2. CS value from equation 1 you put in the equation 2. So what you get? BS is equal to ES GS HS. मैं ES टा आने right side रो left side टा divide कर देबी ES. BS by ES पाई जीबी. तो BS by ES कहता है ला पिला माने GS HS. So BS by, you see here, BS by ES, GS HS. पिला माने GS टा कौन गिरे? Forward path transfer function. HS टा कौन गिरे? Feedback path transfer function. So GS HS multiply कर देले हमें पाइबा, that is called open loop transfer function. So BS by ES which is equal to GS into HS, हम पाइबा that is the open loop transfer function of a system, closed loop system. तेणु गोटे closed loop system रे open loop transfer function किन पाइबा? Forward path transfer function into its feedback path transfer function. GS into HS. GS is forward path transfer function, HS is feedback. GS into HS is equal to called as open loop transfer function of a closed system. Okay. So see here. Next you see here. Now put the ES value. So what is the ES? I mean, कौन पाई थले पिला माने ES? What is the value of ES? I mean ES कितने पाई थले? What is the value of ES? हम प्रथम पाई थले. First equation कौन थला हमारा? First equation. What is the first equation? CS कितने ला पिला माने CS is equal to how much? ES into GS. Second equation कौन पिला था माने? BS is equal to how much? BS is equal to how much? CS into HS. Okay. Then हम पाइथल ES केते पाइथल पिला माने? ES is equal to RS minus BS. You see. Okay. आमे कौन करिबा ना? Equation 1 थिला. This is equation 1. This is equation 2. This is equation 3. मु कौन करी ना? Put equation ES value in equation 1. ES जो value equation 3 रे अछि हेटा मु put कर देबे कोठी equation 1 ले. ES value put in equation 1. Put the ES value in equation 1. Equation 1. What do we get? Now CS is equal to ES value केतरे पिला माने RS minus BS. तेणु CS हे जिवो RS minus BS into GS. ES value. What the ES value? RS minus BS. पका देले RS minus BS into GS. ताको multiply कर दियो RS into GS minus BS into GS. Okay? Put here BS value. What is the BS value here? Tell me. BS value CSHS. So put the BS value here. So put the BS value here. Put the BS value. So that RS GS minus CS HS GS. Can BS value कहते CS HS. Then बर्तमान देखा लिया RS GS CS पहले ऐसा equation. Okay. So you are getting here. Then बर्तमान मैं कौन करीबी? Left side रे के CS अच्छी. मु जो राइट साइड रे जो CS टर्म अछि सेकंड टर्म टा ताको लेफ्ट को नै आसीबी त लेफ्ट को आसले कोन पर माइनस अछि लेफ्ट को आसले कोन पे माने प्लस आसीला हेला CS प्लस CS HS GS इज इक्वल टू RS GS ओके तो ने एठी तो CS अछि एठी CS अछि तो फर्स्ट टर्म CS सेकंड टर्म CS मु CS टा कॉमन नै जी कॉमन ले मते के पेला मिलिबो CS कॉमन नै गला पर कोन माइला 1 प्लस HS GS इज इक्वल टू RS GS 1 प्लस HS GS is equal to how much? RSGS. Okay. Then बर्तन इधर पाइलो इधर बर्तन हम implies को लिखे देवी जो CS by RS CS RS टाने के पटो हरी दियो by RS CS टाने का हरी दियो हर दला पर कहते हैं ला CS right side RS टा left side हरी दियो सेमती left side जो ची 1 plus HSGS right side हरी दियो कौन मिली वो GS by 1 plus GS into HS or HS into GS. You can get HS into GS. 1 plus HS into GS. Okay. And this is called, as you see, this part is called, जो तुम बर्तन पाइलो CS by RS, जो रेशियो पाइलो, output by input signal is equal to GS by 1 plus HS into GS इटा जो तुम पिला माने पाइलो CS हला कोन आउटपुट सिग्नल RS कोन हला इनपुट सिग्नल सो आउटपुट बाय इनपुट होचे ट्रांसफर फंक्शन जरा कहंती टोटल ब्लॉक रो आउटपुट सिग्नल बाय टोटल ब्लॉक रो डायग्राम रो इनपुट सिग्नल सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज क्लोज्ड लूप ट्रांसफर फंक्शन दिस पार्ट इज कॉल्ड क्लोज्ड लूप ट्रांसफर फंक्शन आई एम राइटिंग हियर व्हिच इज कॉल्ड एज क्लोज्ड लूप ट्रांसफर फंक्शन this part is called closed loop transfer function. Okay. So this derivation, this closed loop transfer function is for negative feedback. I have told you this is for prathame ame nithile kon negative feedback. First we have taken the negative feedback. So negative feedback. This is for negative feedback. जदि हम positive feedback रे कोन हबो for positive feedback what is the closed loop transfer function? Negative feedback वाले पिला माने इटा आसला plus sign. You see here is plus sign. This sign is called plus sign. This sign is a plus sign here. जो तळे हर रे डिनोमिनेटर अछि 1 प्लस अछि नेगेटिव फीडबैक हेले ऊपर जीएस रहइबो नेगेटिव फीडबैक तळे आसीबो प्लस साइन 1 प्लस जीएसएचएस किंतु जदि हम नै दे फॉर पॉजिटिव फीडबैक सिग्नल ए प्लस टा हे जे पिला माने माइनस हे जिवो तळे जो अछि 1 प्लस जीएसएचएस बा 1 प्लस एचएसजीएस सेटा माइनस हे जिवो तेणु कोन हबो फॉर पॉजिटिव सिग्नल फीडबैक सिग्नल जदि हम पॉजिटिव नै कि डेरिवेशन करबा हम पाइबा CS by RS how much we are getting CS by RS how much we are getting here CS by RS you are getting here GS by 1 minus h you see here minus is here okay positive pai tole asio minus negative pai tole asibo plus same expression CS by RS ta konti closed loop transfer function it is also closed loop transfer function for a closed system. Closed loop transfer function a closed system. Minus आसे केतेबेले पॉजिटिव फीडबैक रे, प्लस आसे केतेबेले नेगेटिव फीडबैक रे, नेगेटिव फीडबैक रे तळे आसे प्लस. जिम डेरिवेशन हमर बाहरला, हम जदि मु पॉजिटिव फीडबैक रे डेरिवेशन बाहर करबी, सो पळे आसे CS by RS is equal to GS by 1 minus HS into GS or GS into HS. Okay, this part is here. Next you see, okay, so what are the equation 1? Equation 1 kone pila manthila, equation 1 was, you see, so now discuss about error ratio. What is the equation 1? Equation 1 pila mane kon thila re? Equation 1 thila CS is equal to ES into GS. Equation 1 thila amar. Equation 2 kon thila? Equation 1. Equation 2 thila BS is equal to how much? CS into HS. Equation 2. Equation 3 kon thila? Error signal ES is equal to how much? RS minus BS. Equation 3. Equation 3 here. Okay. But what is the CS by RS kete paithila? What is the CS by RS tame kete paila be? CS by RS বা ক্লোজ লুপ ট্রান্সফার ফাংশন, ক্লোজ লুপ ট্রান্সফার ফাংশন কেতে পাইলো? নেগেটিভ ফিডব্যাক পাই আমি যেটা নেগেটিভ ইজ হাউ মচ? GS by 1 plus GS into HS. This is a closed loop transfer function. Closed loop transfer function. Okay. मुझे CS जगह पके दे पिला माने इक्वेशन 1 देखो CS पाई CS ला ES into GS मुझे पके देबी. This implies ES into GS by RS is equal to GS by 1 plus GS into HS. HS GS लिखी पारा बा GS HS लिखी पारा, no problem. Okay. This implies what I am getting? This implies so एठी देखो लेफ्ट रे GS राइट GS से कटि जीवो तने कोन रहइबो? ES by RS is equal to how much? 1 by GS into HS. Okay. So this is called error ratio. This part is called ES by RS. In the block diagram you can see ES was error signal, RS was input signal, summing point. To the summing point, in the summing point in the summing point part, if you go the summing point part here, summing point, this was RS, this was ES, plus minus, this was BS. So ES by RS, error signal by input signal is called error ratio, which was 1 by 1 plus GSHS. So this is called error ratio. Error ratio. ES by RS. Error signal by input signal error ratio, its value is 1 by 1 plus GS is equal to GS into HS. Okay. So this is for a feedback is HS. When the feedback is HS, all the expressions you are getting. When the feedback value is how much? HS value. Okay. And feedback केतला पिला माने जो feedback block थला, feedback जो block टा से लागू थला इट value केतला? HS थला feedback signal HS. Okay. But if you take a unity feedback, for unity feedback system, HS is equal to 1. HS value kete 1. Okay. Positive. We take a unit feedback system with positive feedback. With positive feedback. Then positive feedback naba unit feedback system. Okay. Positive nale kon habo? What is the transfer function? What is the open loop transfer function? Open loop transfer function how much here? Open loop transfer function how much you are getting? Open loop transfer function is equal to how much? GSHS is how much? HS value? Only GS. So what is this value? This is equal to BS by ES. This value is how much? BS by ES, which is the open loop transfer function value, only GS. Okay, because HS value how much? HS value 1. So open loop transfer function value, open loop transfer function, how much? Only GS. Okay. So what is the closed loop transfer function? Closed loop transfer function, CS by RS how much habo? कौन थिला CS by RS? कारण closed loop transfer function value थिला 1 by 1 plus GS into HS. Negative feedback पे plus थिला, positive feedback पे minus हबो. किंतु HS value केते पिले माने? HS value is how much? 1. HS value 1. तो कौन है जीवो? What is the closed loop transfer function? 1 by positive feedback. Positive feedback कौन हबो? 1. ये value GS by, sorry, GS by 1 plus GS HS. So HS value केते 1, यदि HS value 1 हैला, so what is the value? Only GS by 1 minus GS. Okay, this is for positive feedback. For negative feedback केते हबो? CS by RS is equal to same रहइबो ऊपर न्यूमरेटर लबो समान तळे कोन हबो नेगेटिव फीडबैक पई कोन हे जिवो एटा प्लस हे जो 1 प्लस GS. So this is for negative feedback. So see here, means HS value here, HS value absent, HS value is 1 because this is the case of a unity feedback system. For unity feedback system, HS value is 1. So HS value 1 he gale. This is the CS by RS. It is a closed loop transfer function for any feedback, for HS feedback. Here feedback is HS. For the feedback is HS. GS HS likhi paro, or you can write HS GS. Okay. So GS HS is same as GS HS. GS HS is same as GS HS same as HS GS. Multiply, both are same. You can write GS HS or HS GS, no problem. So this is the closed loop transfer function for a positive feedback system with unity feedback. The second one is the negative feedback system with unity feedback system. So these are about discussion about the canonical form of a closed loop control system, which is very important for the control system because these all are feedback control system. Feedback is there. Closed loop system is also called as a feedback control system. These are representation of the different blocks and their equations and how you determine the open loop transfer function, how you determine the closed loop transfer function. So we discuss in the today class. So today class, these are the parts. So in the next class, we will meet with each other. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.